From the interesting discourse on taxation at the recent Redeemed Christian Church of God Victory Chapel 2016 Economic Summit, the panelists made key points that should inform the changes that will shape the Nigerian tax system.
We want to make it abundantly clear that we are poised and we are determined to run a tax-friendly administration. If you look at the program of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Lagos State, part of it is foreign direct investment. And if you are talking about foreign direct investment, it means that for you to have investment in your state or within your territory, you must run a tax-friendly environment. Like I always say, the sheep know where the pastures are green, and they will always go there. For us in Lagos State, particularly the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service, what we are after is that businesses should thrive and people should make money, like I said, legitimately. And then our slogan has been voluntary compliance. And what do we mean by voluntary compliance? To obey the provisions of the law. There are two ways to it. People try to avoid tax through tax planning, which on its own is kind of legitimate. But when there's a thin line between tax avoidance and tax evasion, when you overdo it, then you fall on the other side of the law, and then issues like enforcement and trying the taxman start running after you will start. But however, the position of the law is that Section 41 of the Personal Income Tax Act states that you should file the returns of your income correctly. And Section 24 of the Constitution of Nigeria also states clearly that as a good citizen, you must file your returns. And then as Christians, we've learned and we have been told that give unto Caesar what is Caesar's and give unto God what is God.
Looking at the profile of tax collection on the tax side, in previous years, we've had a trend that you had what we call the petroleum profit tax, bringing in the bulk of revenue. Most of the time is 80-70%. By 2015, the other taxes, aside from PPT, became the highest revenue earner. We are now seeing company income tax, VAT, and other taxes bringing in more money than the PPT tax. So we need to bring in more of the non-oil taxes.
From what has been painted and what we are already familiar with, as far as the economy is concerned, it is clear that the federal government is going to zero in, and they're already zeroing in on internally generated revenue. And so the pressure is going to be on you and it's going to be on me. And what we can only say is that we should get prepared. Specifically, as taxpayer, we must know our rights. A lot of people run away from taxes because they don't know how to handle their affairs. You may end up not even being liable to tax if you have your records properly in place. You are a small business, okay, and you have your income, you have your expenses, but of course, we just decide that there's no reason why I should pay the tax, and that is why we don't keep those records properly, and that is why we are not able to make claims for reliefs that we are entitled to. Expenses we spend on our fuel, costs are increasing, we can pile them up to reduce our income and then be compliant. At the end of the day, you end up making refund claim from the federal government and from the state. Those provisions are definitely in the law. You can make claim for refund.
If you look around, we're very quick to blame our leaders, but most times we're just as terrible as they are, and they are a reflection of the larger society. Now, the keynote speaker touched on so many issues, and if you look at it with our GDP at about 100 trillion naira. Our tax revenue in the 2016 budget is just a little over 3 trillion. So we are planning to spend 6 trillion. We're going to borrow over 2 trillion naira. Now, what that means is we're making around 3-4% of our GDP. We've got about 180 million people. Even without corruption, 6 trillion is not going to fix our problems. On one hand, and the reality is that taxation essentially is how government shares in the prosperity of the people. So when the people prosper, they have employment, they have businesses that are thriving, they pay taxes. So we also need, as a people and our government, not to think only about how to collect taxes from the people or businesses, to think actually about how to help create more employment and more businesses so that success can be a commonplace and more people can pay their taxes.
On our part as a revenue agency, we know that tax is a function of income, and there is no way you can collect tax without an income. And if we don't allow businesses to thrive, then who are we going to collect tax from? Nobody. Now, on our part, as a revenue agency, we have looked at our internal processes, we have looked at our processes, and we have decided that we need to make life as simple as possible for people. We want people in Lagos State to pay tax with a smile.
Tax matters are taken very seriously, to the extent that in a country like the US, you actually find individuals hiring tax professionals to help them, because those taxes are very complicated. We are getting to that point now in Nigeria as well, where it will become a crime if you are not tax compliant. And this can affect your career. What that means is, if there's a whistleblower, and then it's established that you evaded tax, you have a criminal record. Now, in trying to do the right thing, you have to do the right thing efficiently, which means within the ambit of the law. Instead of paying 10 naira, can I pay 6 without violating the law? And that's where the professional comes in. So whatever you're going to pay the professional, you should save a lot more than that in ensuring that you do proper planning of your businesses, proper planning of your individual affairs, to ensure that you do the right thing. And when you do the right thing, hold government accountable. That is the only way we can move forward as a nation.
The realities for the tax system in Nigeria, which will also drive the non-oil sector, is the need for an attitudinal change from all stakeholders, government to citizens.